Good morning, everybody. Virgo here. It is November 4th, 2019. And today we're going to be talking about something that I have not addressed previously because it is such a silly thing. However, it is actually something that needs to be addressed at this point as I see it popping back up again in the SC circles and those that are attempting to try to use frivolous law that does not exist anymore, or never did exist rather, with regards to the Articles of Confederation, which by the way is said as Articles of Confederation, not Articles in Confederation, which seems to be the statement that's being made on a regular basis. Particularly, we're going to be talking about Article 4 of the Articles of Confederation from 1777. We're going to be taking a look at that. We're going to be addressing several things in it. Please, for a moment, pay attention to the video that you're about to see in this quick snippet. I think many of you have heard this before.
Without a license.
But we told you he's an Article 4 Free-Inhabitant, so he does not have to have a license. This is on recording.
Well, most likely, just for my safety, because I got a lot going on with this Article 3 or 4.
Article 4, Free-Inhabitant, pursuant to the Articles of Confederation. You can look it up. It's in the United States Book of Codes. It is your laws you have to follow.
Take a look at your screen. You're going to see Article 4 from the Articles of Confederation, 1777, and it states, "The better to secure and perpetuate mutual friendship and intercourse amongst the people of the different states in this union, the free inhabitants of each of these states, paupers, vagabonds, and fugitives from justice excepted, shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of free citizens in the several states, and the people of each state shall have free ingress and regress to and from any other state, and shall enjoy therein all the privileges of trade and commerce, subject to the same duties, impositions, and restrictions as the inhabitants thereof respectfully." That is part of Article 4 of the Articles of Confederation from 1777. Now let's break this down, okay? Privileges and immunities. If you read closely in context with the rest of the Articles of Confederation, which is not being done by these people, you will find that what it actually says is that the states must treat all free inhabitants, their wording, from another state the same way that they treat free inhabitants of their own state. This is similar to how the U.S. Constitution says that citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. So you can find that in Article 4, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. It even goes on to say that subject to the same duties, impositions, and restrictions as the inhabitants thereof respectfully. It does not mean that states cannot pass laws regulating citizens. What it means is that a state can't have different laws for citizens as it does for non-citizens. And it indirectly says that states can impose duties, impositions, and restrictions on the free inhabitants. Breaking this down a little bit further, and this is definitely something that should be a side note for everyone. Okay, free inhabitant was basically back then a way of saying white landowner. Slaves, indentured servants, people that were considered vagabonds or homeless, people that were considered fugitives of justice, they did not have the same rights as free inhabitants, which also means white landowners in this. All right, let's talk about free ingress and regress. To and from any other state after the people of each state shall have free ingress and regress. What this means is that the states are required to have open borders with other states. They can't tax imports from another state, and they can't require people from other states to have a visa to enter another state. Notice that it says nothing at all about the state regulating travel within their own state. It just says that free inhabitants are to be subject to the same duties, impositions, and restrictions as the inhabitants thereof respectfully. So as long as a state requires its own citizens to have a driver's license, it can require people from other states to have a driver's license also. So cherry picking and selective reading from the Articles of Confederation doesn't make it law. Legal scholars and the courts and judges don't accept the arguments that are made in the video that you just witnessed, for example, and the people that actually attempt to try to use this argument as a defense will lose, and they'll lose badly. It's actually considered frivolous because, for one thing, the Articles of Confederation are no longer in existence. They only exist on paper as a part of our history. And we're going to talk about that next. So the Constitution, which is current, that you are looking at on your screen right now, was ratified in 1788 and replaced the Articles of Confederation from 1779. It fixed a lot of the previous issues that the Articles of Confederation actually had. And some of those issues we can go into in another video. That said, I really can't stress enough that the Constitution nullified the Articles of Confederation and should be considered a completely different government than our current one. That is why we consider General George Washington as our first president and not any of the presidents of Congress. That said, let us pretend that the Articles are still in effect. Now, let us ask, what does the term free inhabitants mean? Let's take a look at the U.S. Census data from 1790. It would collect data on the following categories of those living in the U.S. Number of free white males. This was divided into two subcategories, free white males under 16 and those over 16. Number of free white females, and number of other free persons, and number of slaves. Let's take a look. As you can see, in 1790, assistant marshals listed the name of each head of household and asked for the following questions to be answered. Number 1, the number of free white males aged under 16 and over 16. Number 2, number of free white females. Number 3, number of other free persons. And number 4, number of slaves. However, by 1850, the census had only 2 schedules. So, schedule number 1, as you can see, free inhabitants. And schedule number 2, slave inhabitants. With this data being readily available to us, I think it's safe to assume that free inhabitant means not a slave. Thus, in a way, the female in the video could be possibly considered correct when she states that she's a free inhabitant, as she is not a slave, but is completely wrong in the interpretation that the laws do not apply to her. In fact, Article 4 says that free inhabitants will be treated equally, regardless of what state they're in. Equally. Once again, the Articles of Confederation have been replaced by the Constitution of the United States, so the argument is moot anyway. But I wanted to make sure that these issues were actually addressed, because people are using these arguments in courts and being misled by ideology that simply does not understand or doesn't care what the reality of our history is. As I promised, we were going to be taking a look at why the Articles of Confederation actually failed, and it was necessary for the Constitution to take over. There are several actually, but there are 3 main ones, and those are the ones that I'm going to be going over really quickly. Thought Company actually provides a really nice slide here for us to use, and I'm just going to go over that with you. I think you'll find that these 3 areas are extremely important, mainly the third one. So number 1, we have economic. Congress did not have the power to tax when the Articles of Confederation were in play. Congress did not have the power to regulate foreign and interstate commerce. Leadership. Number 2, no executive branch to enforce any acts passed by Congress, no national court system or judicial branch. Now, even if you think that things would be better off without either one of those two things being in play, I'm sure you can agree that the third is extremely important for our own security and safety of our nation, and that would be military. Almost every single state at that time had its own militia, but the national government was unable to gather a combined military force in order to secure our country. That is extremely important. And in my view, one of the very top of the list reasons why the Articles of Confederation failed and needed to be replaced by the U.S. Constitution. If you're seeing this video and you disagree with the entire thing and even everything that I've made statements about, showing you that there is nothing to the argument that a Free-Inhabitant Article 4 of the Articles of Confederation will make you exempt somehow from the laws when you're standing on the side of the road with a police officer, I would highly suggest you do some more research for yourself, because your argument will never pan out. Cherry picking laws and just parroting what you hear on YouTube is sure to get you in a lot more trouble than you ever anticipated. So hopefully this video will reach some of those people. And for those of you that follow the movements and laugh at these people for doing what they do on the side of the road with police officers, as irritating as they are, if you really never quite understood what Article 4 was, or never have read the entire Articles of Confederation, I hope this helped you a little bit with the argument itself to understand better. All right, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.